Oh boy.
Dangan Ronpa.
What?
Sakura-chan.
Sakura is...
Sakura-chan.
Sakura is...
死ん
dead?
死んじゃったの?
She's dead? I could hear Asahina's trembling voice behind me, but my eyes were frozen to a single point. The body before me. Ogami's dead body. It looks like we're too late. It happened again. Speaking through clenched teeth, Kirigiri placed her hand on Ogami's corpse. It looked like she was confirming her death, checking for a pulse or a reaction or something. I gotta go get them. Gotta go get everyone else. Asahina staggered out of the rec room. And I... Why? Why did this have to... Could do nothing but mumble. Just mumble the same thing over and over again. I'm going to need to examine Ogami's body. As Kirigiri examined her body, I could do nothing but stand back and stare, bolted to the floor. Time passed. Time continued to flow, and I continued to be helplessly frozen in place. A while later, I brought them. Whoa, ogre! Well, looky here, big girl's gone bye-bye. I see, Ogami's been murdered. Once the final three had arrived, Kirigiri began speaking. As I'm sure you heard, a corpse discovery announcement was just made. You know what that means, don't you? That Sakura Ogami's was murdered by someone in this room. Or am I misunderstanding? No, it wasn't just someone in this room. Sakura was killed by Hagakure, Togami, or Fukawa, one of you three! What? You sound awfully certain for not having done any investigation. I don't need to investigate anything, I just know. I mean, come on, you guys all acted like Sakura was the bad guy. So obviously one of you three killed her. You already know who did it. Don't tell me. You're one of those earthlings who unleashes super detective powers when you're angry. What do you want? Oh, Asahina, you're so silly. I'm here to make a special delivery. The next issue of Homicide Today. Otherwise known as the Monokuma File Number 4. You ain't doing right by your bombastic face by wearing that angry scowl, Asahina. Well, got a blast. Just a second. There's something I'd like to know. Yeah? You didn't kill Ogami, did you? Yes. She said she intended to do battle with you, with the Puppet Master. Maybe you two got into another fight and then you killed her? Neither close nor cigar. Nope, you're totally off base. I'm sorry to say, but Ogami died a pitiful death before even reaching the boss room. Thankfully, though, that means I got off easy. No need to accept her challenges anymore. Cause really, a monster like her ain't so easy to take down, even for Monokuma the Great. I was at a loss. Here she is breaking the rules by attacking me, and here I am unable to claim my restitution. So whoever you are, Mr. or Miss Villain, you have my deepest gratitude. Gratitude? Oh, rather than directing your anger at me, you should funnel it into finding the culprit. After all, it's you guys' lives on the line here. What the heck? You're grateful? You sicken me! You monster! I can agree with him on one point. I'm glad it was Ogami. She was the Puppet Master's mole after all. How could you say that? Whoops. I don't have time to bicker with you pions. The game's already begun. If you need someone to hate, hate whoever killed her. Our number one priority right now should be finding the culprit. If we don't, we'll all be executed. First, we'll decide who's responsible for watching over the crime scene. I'll do it. Asahina? I'll be fine. Let me handle it. Anyway, I want to be here with Sakura. Alright then, Asahina, you're the first watchman. The second is... you, kitty kitty. Me. You're always getting in my way. This time, you can be a good little girl and stand guard. That's an order. An order? That's fine. I'll stay here. Then it's settled. Let's get started. Wait! There's something I have to say first. And what might that be? Hakakure, Togami, and Fukawa, the three of you are not allowed in this room. Huh? You're the ones who killed Sakura! I can't let any of you get anywhere near her! Shut your mouth, insolent fool. My life is at risk. I have a right to investigate the scene. Say whatever you want. I'm not letting you murderers touch Sakura! I won't let you in, even if I have to drag you out myself! Seems like we're at an impasse. Continuing this quarrel any longer is just a waste of time. Then I'll make a concession. Never mind all three. Just let me investigate. What? That's not a problem, is it? It's not like you'd be any help anyway. Cool with me? Investigation? Boom! Fabulously fantasizing about my white knight is much better use of my time. You don't have any complaints either, do you, Hakakure? Well, if you insist, I guess I got no choice. Either way, dude, it's not like I did anything. Then it's decided. Who gave you permission to decide anything? Asahina, I understand how you're feeling right now, but you really need to accept Togami's proposal. But... we have to find the murderer. Not only our own sake, but for Ogami's sake as well. Fine. I'll let you investigate the room, Togami. But you absolutely cannot lay a finger on Sakura. And why would I? I'm not putting my hands on that filthy thing. Enough with the bickering already. We need to focus on investigating this murder now. You would do well to keep in mind, everyone, that if we don't find the murderer, every last one of us will be killed. It's not a question of whether we want to or not. Our only chance of making it through this alive is to uncover the killer responsible for Ogami's death. A desperate hope, but our only hope. Well, I see some blood. Investigation! First off, let's see what the Monokuma file has to say. Victim, Sakura Ogami. Time of death, 12 p.m. The corpse was discovered in the rec room on the 3rd floor of the school zone. The victim appears to have been struck over the head with great force. Aside from that, there are no other obvious external wounds. Additionally, the victim has vomited a considerable volume of blood. Wait. So Sakura was hit over the head. And vomited out blood. This case is probably going to be a tough one. Yeah, right? What makes you say that? The only entrance to the rec room is the door we came in through. Furthermore, the door was blocked from the inside by a chair, making it unopenable. That begs the question, after sealing the door with the chair, how did the culprit escape from the room? I see, so the only door was sealed from the inside, and entry was impossible until I broke the glass. Meaning there was no way out. In short, this was a sealed room murder. A sealed room murder? Yeah, sure, this sort of stuff happens on TV and in manga all the time. But in real life and right here, right before my very eyes? While we're on the subject, would you like me to go into a bit more detail about sealed room murders? Please, I appreciate that. Sealed room murders can be, by and large, divided into 4 major categories. Category 1. A sealed room constructed from the outside after the crime has been committed. After committing the murder, the culprit uses some sort of trick to seal the room. This typically involves them setting the lock from the outside somehow. The possibilities are endless. It could be something primitive like a string and pulley, or something more complex and mechanical. Some sort of trick with the lock, huh? I'll have to give the door a good look over later. Category 2. A sealed room that already existed before the murder occurred. Existed before the murder? Basically, the culprit uses some tool or method to target the victim from outside the sealed room. Something like a remote-activated gun or firing arrows through the crack in the door. However, this case probably doesn't fit into that category. Not only aren't there any guns or archery equipment in the school, the door doesn't have that wide of space. She has a point. It's probably safe to cross that one off the list. And then category 3. The culprit is inside the sealed room with when the seal is broken. So they're hidden inside somewhere? They take advantage of the confusion to slip into the crowd, acting like they just showed up. And that's how they get away with it. That seemed reasonably plausible. The 4th and final category, it was never a sealed room to begin with. I feel like that's the one. Never a sealed room. In other words, the room has a secret passage or something in it, some way for the culprit to escape. Mysteries falling into this category show up in novels a lot, but in reality it's highly improbable. Then it's probably safe to assume that we can cross it off the list, yes. And that concludes my lecture on sealed rooms. I think I get it. So there are 4 major categories of sealed room murders. So Kirigiri, which category do you think this murder falls under? Good question. I imagine that will be a big point of discussion during the class trial. However, at this stage, it's hard to say. How did the culprit construct a sealed room? We'll need to figure that out if we're going to reach the truth behind Ogami's death. She was right, this is going to be a tough mystery. I need to focus on my investigation. Not just for me, but for Ogami. Ogami spent her last breath here slumped forward on this couch. As I recall, she was struck over the head. Normally you would expect that to be the cause of death. But the Monokuma also mentioned she had vomited blood. There is indeed blood on her mouth. But what exactly caused her to vomit? The Monokuma file says that aside from the wound on her head, there aren't any other external wounds. Maybe the blow to her head caused her to vomit blood? Yeah, right. Tokami. I will say though, you've taken notice of something almost absolutely fascinating. Not bad. Fascinating? Do you not think so? I wouldn't call it fascinating, but curious maybe. There's no question the reason she vomited blood has something to do with her death. It looks like a wrapper of some sorts. Hey, that's... You recognize this, Asahina? Well, yeah, I gave it to her. That's a candy wrapper. You remember how mad Sakura was when Genocider scratched me up? Well, to try to calm her down, I gave her some right after we left the infirmary. The wrapper from the candy you gave Ogami. The candy had been in the dormitory storeroom. I loved it so much that as soon as the storeroom opened, I took the whole box back to my room. So no one else could have gotten any. You like it that much? I wanted Sakura to taste it too, which is why I gave her some. But now she'll never taste it again. Asahina. the candy was poisoned. There are shards of glass scattered on the floor around the chair Ogami is sitting in. The glass is red and look at this. The neck of a bottle, and there's the bottom of one. So basically that means these shards used to be a glass bottle. Shards of glass. There's something else on the floor next to the glass. A single figure, just small enough to fit in the palm of my hand. A Monokuma figure? There's one of these. There are 4 red bottles lined up on the cabinet. Each of the bottles has a Monokuma figure inside. How the heck did the figures get inside those bottles anyway? It's the same idea as an impossible bottle. Huh? Where you put something, say a model sailboat, into a bottle with a small mouth smaller than the object. You've never seen anything like that before? Oh, I think I have. This is the Monokuma version. We can call it Monokuma bottles. I'm slowly starting to piece things together. The Monokuma bottles on the cabinet. The Monokuma figure. That's a knight. Monokuma figure on the floor. The red fragments of glass on the floor that I suspect used to be a bottle. Putting 2 and 2 together, it looks like Ogami was hit over the head with one of these Monokuma bottles. At least that's what the Monokuma figure on the floor suggests. In other words, it's very well possible the murder weapon was a Monokuma bottle. There's a pool of blood on the floor in front of the magazine rack. Well, I'm sure it must be Ogami's blood. Something feels off about it. Why is it so far away from the body? It's a magazine rack. There are all different kinds of magazines here. Okay. Oh! I didn't notice this. The locker's door has been left open, and look at this on the inside. Handprints? Now, why would there be handprints in a place like that? Due to all the dust inside the locker, it looks like prints were left anywhere it was touched. They appear to be relatively new as well. I'm guessing someone was hiding in this locker, and that's when they left these handprints. Oh hey, in that case, could the culprit maybe have been hiding inside the locker when we unsealed the room? And then after we broke the seal, they slipped into the crowd acting like they'd just shown up? Sorry to disappoint you, but that's out of the question. Huh? Why? Recall how the room looked through the window before we broke the seal. You would see the locker. Oh, it was already open. That's right, the locker was already open. Therefore, it's not possible for someone to have been hiding in the locker when we unsealed the room. But in that case, what do these handprints mean? Does the locker have a back room? The locker's door has been left open, and look at this on the inside, there are handprints. Relatively new. I'm guessing someone was hiding. However, the culprit. Recall how the room looked. It was already open when we got it. Ooh. The rec room door wouldn't open because this chair was shoved up against it. But I see no trace of any sort of apparatus like string or metal hook or anything. So there wasn't anything done to the chair itself. There we go. There's a plastic container on the floor near the rec room. It looks like a bottle of protein. It's empty too. It was probably Ogami's. She was always drinking protein. Plus, she and Asahina like to talk about how protein could cure anything. Be careful, that's hyperbole. Yes, I know. Anyway, the label on this protein container says Cadlem A2. That reminds me, Ogami did say something about the chem lab on the 4th floor having good protein. Which would mean this container came from the chem lab. That doesn't make sense. Huh? What doesn't? On the floor around the container, there are shards of light blue glass from when I broke the door's window. The shards aren't just scattered around the container, but underneath it as well. Does that tell us something? It fell on top of the broken glass. I'm not sure specifically what it means just yet, but it wouldn't hurt to keep it in mind. I'm guessing it'll turn out to be a very important clue. Very important clue? What does she mean by that? I already know who did it. Togami, Fukawa, or Hagakure, one of those three. I mean, they all acted like Sakura was the bad guy. You think so too, don't you, Negi? Well, I can't really say either way until I've done a little more investigation. Then, let me tell you this. Sakura asked all three of them to meet her here in the rec room. What? This morning, after you brought me to the infirmary, you know me and Sakura left together, right? Well, yeah, after that she ended up going off somewhere by herself. But later on I saw her again, and that's when she told me that she had left notes in all of their rooms. The note said, come to the rec room before lunch. Before lunch? Her time of death was around noon. It's true, she told me herself. I tried to stop her, but she wouldn't listen. She said they were going to talk and that I didn't need to worry. And yet, this happened. So, had I just forced her not to come, none of this would have happened. Asahina. Telling her not to blame herself is probably asking the impossible. But to think that Togami, Hagakure, and Fukawa were all summoned here by Ogami? Here, to the scene of the crime, just before noon when she was murdered. I should probably try and corroborate her testimony with the three of them. Well, Togami, what'd it be? What do you want? Don't get in my way. I've got a question for you, Togami. Make it fast. Is it true that you received an invitation from Ogami to come into the rec room? Ah, so you know about that. Then it's true. Yes, a note to that effect was left under my bedroom door. But who the hell would be stupid enough to just waltz on in and let that monster kill them? You didn't go? Of course not. I tore the note up and threw it away. I made no contact with Ogami whatsoever today. He says he didn't come to the rec room, but is he telling the truth? I don't have any evidence to claim otherwise, though, so I just have to believe in him for now.
Boy.
If you're done, then get out of my sight. Yeah, thanks. Anything else? I'm surprised someone even managed to kill Ogami. She certainly is not the kind of person who would go down easily. It most definitely would not have been easy. She was a super duper high school fighter. Both her body and spirit were extremely tenacious. So how did the culprit manage to kill her? Or could they have it at all? Maybe they caught her by surprise? Taking her by surprise is probably the only way you could kill her. Oh, I need to thoroughly investigate the crime scene before I go any. What else needs investigating? I did that.